Hello and welcome back to That's Entertainment, our weekly show where we look at all the interesting news that happened last week, this week. So last week we saw that Warner Media made an announcement that they will be releasing films simultaneously to HBO Max as well as theaters going into 2021. It's apparently a 2021 only strategy while the pandemic is still in flow. We're going to start now by just looking at some of the pushback that's come from the industry since that announcement has been made. Tenant's director Christopher Nolan, recently interviewed about this decision, came out with the following statement. Some of our industry's biggest filmmakers and most important movie stars went to bed the night before, thinking they were working for the greatest movie studio, and woke up to find out they were working for the worst streaming service. Dune and Godzilla vs. Kong producers, Legendary Entertainment, may take legal action against Warner Brothers if the studio won't make a deal with them. They provided around 75% of the production budgets for those two films, but not the marketing budgets, were allegedly not heavily involved in the HBO Max decision. Also, Wonder Woman's 1984 star Gal Gadot and director Patty Jenkins were reportedly given $10 million each by Warner Brothers in lieu of back-end profit participation, which may have come from a $1 billion global box office take. Other filmmakers and talent are concerned that they may not be as well treated when their films debut on HBO Max. And exhibitors saw share values drop as a result of Warner Brothers' decision. AMC recently came out with a statement as well. Warner Media intends to sacrifice a considerable portion of the profitability of its movie studio division and that of its production partners and filmmakers to subsidize its HBO Max startup. We will do all in our power to ensure that Warner Brothers does not do so at our expense. And the Independent Cinema Alliance in the US is also asking Warner Brothers to recommit theatrical exclusivity. The ICA welcomes a hybrid distribution models during the pandemic as long as they have fair terms, and that they don't reflect long-term formal shifts in distribution strategies for the film studios. Warner Brothers have been busy defending their recent decisions on the future of their film releases. John Stankey, AT&T's CEO, made a statement giving theatre owners a predictable release of content over the next several months that they can plan around and start to work their businesses around is a good thing for them. Warner Media Studios and Networks chair and CEO Ann Sarnoff was also quoted as saying, "We thought that by announcing that we'll have all 17 movies in theaters in 2021, that they would know that their businesses could operate because they have a full stream of movies." So these are the justifications for the decisions. I mean, I can see things working both ways here. It's important to get some form of content out. I understand that the pandemic is causing chaos in terms of how cinemas are opening up and closing around various countries in the world. I'm in Denmark currently, and we've just gone into lockdown again, which is frustrating. And the cinemas here are also closed over this period. If no content is being released in there, there's no incentive for audiences to get back to the movies. So I can understand where this decision is coming from Warner's side. I can also understand the severe concern from the industry stakeholders as to how long this decision will last for, and if it really is only for 2021, or will it spill into 2022? And I think that's going to be an accountancy-based decision at the end of the year, once they look at the revenues in their entirety, not just what potentially was missing from the box office, but also what are the follow-on revenues that are generated downstream of the film's launch as well. Important considerations. We'll be watching this with great interest. In related streaming news, Andy Forssell, head of HBO Max Global, confirmed that it would start rolling out the HBO Max service in Europe next year, following on from its plans to launch mid-year in Latin America. HBO Max subscribers have grown by 4 million users from the end of the third quarter to 12.6 million in total. In the last 30 days, two series, The Undoing and Flight Attendant, have driven up the amount of time members spend on the service by 36%. Other TV content is important to them too. There are now plans to produce shows based on DC Comics characters, which are owned by Warner Brothers, and Charlie Theron's production company moves TV shows deal from Universal to HBO Max. I think this is interesting. Again, you know, when you're getting the live statistics out of a service in real time, when you can show growth, and this is something that I think, you know, the cinema industry has always been falling behind in terms of exposing in real time how audiences are locating and watching content. When you've got these dramatic announcements in the market saying that the subscription has grown, the viewing numbers are up by 36%, these are the kinds of metrics that do make a strong argument around the release strategy that Warner has selected here. And I think cinemas should also think about opening up their reporting and moving away from purely the Nielsen statistics of, how many people bought tickets. I think if there was a better measurement of engagement and audience appreciation across the industry, this would be healthy. And transparency is much needed, as we constantly run into across the areas that we work in within exhibition, distribution, production, and also within streaming as well. NBC Universal streaming service Peacock now has 26 million US signups. Further increases are expected with the addition of a hugely popular TV show, The Office, in January, and the Tokyo Olympics in July. And Apple has named Disney Plus the Apple TV app of the year. A little bit biased there, maybe. And Disney Plus also voted the #1 app of 2020 by Google Play Android users. So streaming is big and it's growing very, very rapidly. I think, we can see further lock-in and further news coming out of the majors that, as the pandemic, or as Stephen Galloway mentioned in his very interesting podcast, the pandemic is proving to be an accelerant, both on the demise of certain business models, but the acceleration of certain new ways of thinking and new business models that are coming out. So as predicted, piracy has spiked as a result of the major films debuting on VOD. Piracy tracking site Torrent Freak reported that Disney's Mulan saw almost twice as many illegal downloads as The Lion King over a comparable period. So this is the unfortunate reality of, the idea of splitting up content on different platforms. As we mentioned last week, most people are going to have 2 to maybe 3 different streaming options. There's going to be a tendency towards pirating the ones where they don't have access or they're unwilling to pay for additional subscription options. And also the free available of content, that's the main benefit, or one of the huge benefits of a theatrical launch, is by keeping the content wrapped up in the theatre circuit for a while, you are preventing, most of the good quality piracy options that are available out there for both viewers and the pirateers themselves. And I think nobody really wants to see the old 1990s, 2000 VHS and DVD rips where people are setting up cameras in cinemas. And I think maybe one of the things we're probably seeing with this streaming revolution is a preference to HD, high definition, good quality experiences, particularly with the setups that people have in home now with flat screen, surround sound, things like that. So unfortunately, by making more of this content available, we're going to see more high quality rips enter the piracy world. And that's going to have some kind of impact. We won't know until the studios start coming out with more accurate figures around what happened with the release, and how likely that is very much up in the air. That's the show for this week. We'll be back next week. Obviously, with the interruption of Warner's announcement, this has been a very important thing to cover, but we will keep on top of the news for you and talk to you again soon. If you want to comment or subscribe or like, remember we are uploading this show both to YouTube and to LinkedIn. The comment sections of both platforms are open for your questions. Look forward to hearing from you. Goodbye.